Hey guys, it's your boy Carlos here, and welcome to the passenger seat. This is another episode of our mini-series, The Backseat Driver. These mini episodes will be about talking about different things that we like, me and Joseph, that we have special interest in, or we have more information about the materials that we're talking about. So I'll be touching a lot on comic books, and he'll do board games and such things like that, card games. Like I said in my last video of the Backseat Driver, I'll be touching a lot of obscure comic book series, because obviously I know that there are a lot of comics out there, and you got Superman, Batman, Captain America. I'm going to touch upon some comics that you guys might not know about. So one of the comics I'm going to talk about here today is Transmetropolitan. So Transmetropolitan is from 1997, and it's actually Vertigo, which Vertigo is under DC, so it's a DC comic if you want to say it like that. So this ran for 60 issues all the way up to 2002. So this comic book was created by Warren Ellis and Derek Robertson. They started this story by grabbing inspiration from a gonzo journalist who goes by the name of Hunter S. Thomason. You guys might not recognize that name. The most thing I can tell you is Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas, starring Johnny Depp and Benicio del Toro, was a movie about him. So if you guys want to check that movie out, he was a gonzo journalist back in the day, I believe 80s, he wanted to get down to the truth, even if it killed him. He was an addict. He was basically not your normal journalist. He would get into dangerous situations, and he wanted to uncover the truth about certain people or certain places. So essentially this comic series is like that. So this comic series is about Spider Jerusalem, a gonzo journalist, same way, from the inspiration of Hunter. He wants to uncover the truth about his city. Now, in this story, he doesn't want to show his face. So this is based in a dystopian future where you got flying cars and basically aliens hang out with them, and they can invent any drug possible. There's even a part in the series where people sort of go on, if you remember Futurama, like Fry, they get iced up. It's a very interesting story. I do recommend. So it follows Spider Jerusalem and his assistants, his dirty assistants is what he calls them. So one is Shannon, tall blonde. She was a former stripper and bodyguard to one of the drug dealers down in the slums. But then she became his assistant by reading his stories and following what he was doing, which was uncovering the truth about different politicians and different gangs and stuff that's going on in the city that everyone chooses to ignore. So the other assistant we have is Yelena. So she comes from a rich politician, but she's a rebel, so she rebels against her father and joins Spider to do the same thing basically. She was very interested in his work and the way he rebels against society, so she followed him. So his boss, Spider's boss, was Mitchell Royce, which is the editor of The World, which is what his paper's called. It's online. Essentially, he hires Spider to do different stories, but sometimes he'll hire him to do a specific good story, and then Spider will follow his own path and uncover different truths, which sometimes gets Mitchell mad, but it works out in the end because everybody who reads Spider's stuff loves it so much that in this series he gains a lot of popularity, and he gets fame and riches and stuff like that. There are two politicians who are running for president. One is called the Beast and one is called the Smiler. Specific nicknames given to him by Spider himself. The Beast is more of a Richard Nixon type, and he shows how evil he can be, and he's not afraid to hide it. And the other one's called the Smiler. Now, the Smiler, where his name in the story is Gary Callahan, but he runs for president, and he seems like this good figure, but everything changes and he shows his true self once he wins the election, because he beats the beast because they presume he was a good guy, but he turns out he hates people. He wants to take over the United States and manipulate it and make it into what his vision wants, and all his followers are. It's gonna remind you of a lot that's happening now. Let's just put it that way. So this story, even though it's 90s, it falls so much on what's happening now, or not just the politic part of it, like just a lot. If you read the stories, there's a lot of it that's very interesting, and it might fall into what you're experiencing in the world today, even though this was back in the 90s. So this is hands down my favorite comic book series. It's very, I know it's well known in the comic book community, but not so well known throughout just pop culture in general. I believe they tried the idea of making it into a film, but with actually Patrick Stewart was interested in playing him because he read the comics, but nothing ever happened. So here's a hoping that it will become something. But I truly recommend it. If you guys want to pick up a copy, I believe it's about up to 10 volumes, 6 issues, 10 volumes. So if you're into that real world type stories, and I know everyone's, when they think of comic books, they think of superheroes, but these stories are fascinating as well. Won a bunch of awards. It's great storytelling. So if you guys want to go pick up a copy and read it, go ahead. If you just watch this video and seem a little interested, thank you for paying attention anyways. So up next will be Joseph, and he'll be presenting what he likes. And thank you guys for taking this time to pay attention to my comic book, Obscure Comics. I really appreciate it, so thank you guys.
Yo everybody, welcome to another episode of Backseat Driver, here with your host Joseph. I hope you guys enjoyed the other segment with Carlos where he was talking about his awesome comic. And today I have for you another tabletop game called Here to Slay. So just a quick heads up, like Carlos was explaining, we're going to be doing these episodes and talking about things that, we have a little more knowledge on or we just generally like. So that being said, I want you guys to know that we won't always be talking about the same topics. I know we've done comics and tabletop games twice in a row, but don't worry. We'll definitely pick up other topics along the way that we can talk about, or you guys can comment down below what you would like to see us talking about. And if we share those interests, we'll definitely dedicate one of these Backseat Drivers to talking about that. So, Here to Slay. It's published by Unstable Games. It was actually published brought out to market this year. They did do a Kickstarter in 2019, and I was fortunate enough to be able to back this project and receive it. And this is the exclusive Kickstarter edition, and I am so happy that I backed them. This is an awesome game. I loved all the little collectibles that I got with it, and overall it's a lot of fun. And I'm so passionate about it. It's one of the reasons why I wanted to dedicate one of these videos to talking about Here to Slay. So what exactly is Here to Slay? It's a 2 to 6 player turn-based role-playing competitive strategic fantasy card game. Yeah, that is one heck of a mouthful. In layman's terms, it's basically a role-playing game using cards. If anyone plays D&D, which by the way, if you don't worry, I do want to take one of these videos to go ahead and talk about D&D because it's something that I am interested in. But for those of you who play D&D, you'd be very appreciative of the way that this game plays out, because it's very similar to D&D, and it has a lot of mechanics and a lot of similarities that will, it'll remind you of the original OG tabletop role-playing game. So basically in this game, you try to assemble a party with different characters, different classes, and you want to try to slay monsters while trying to avoid that other players complete one of those objectives, whether it be trying to complete a full party themselves or trying to slay monsters. How do you win the game? Well, I just gave you what to do to win the game, and that is either make or have a full party of 6 different heroes, 6 different classes, or you slay 3 monsters, which is the title, Here to Slay. You're here to slay. So, yeah, if you slay 3 monsters, you also get the win. So, how do you play Here to Slay? Each player has a starting hand of 5 cards, and each turn, a person gets 3 action points. And with those action points, that'll determine what you can do during your turn. You can use action points to draw cards, play cards, use abilities, try to fight monsters, or even just discard your hand and start from scratch if you didn't get a good enough hand. So yeah, that's basically it. When you defeat monsters, they give you huge benefits that'll allow you to progress further in the game and make it a little more easier for you to complete your objective. And yeah, so that is Here to Slay. I try to sum it up as much as possible. If you're interested, go check them out. I personally love my edition of Here to Slay. I got the exclusive edition. I got all the playmats, which I won't really showcase right now. They are a lot of playmats. We have our little resin characters, which are awesome. I really do like these. You don't really use them in game as far as I'm concerned, but they are a really nice showpiece for the game. You have, and again, if you're familiar with D&D, you recognize some of these. You have your mage or wizard, unicorn, which is a wild card. It can be anything. Here is a mix of classes, a dual class, if you will, between a wizard and a bard. You have your fighter and your ranger, another dual class. You have your sorcerer, which is a dragon. You have your awesome looking rogue, one of my favorite resin pieces, one of my favorite characters in the game. Here's a mix of a rogue and a paladin or a cleric. I don't remember what that one was specifically, but it's one of the two. You have your fighter, which is a bear. Cool. You have your bard, your ranger, and again, the paladin or cleric character. So yeah, again, this is Here to Slay, and hopefully if you guys are interested, you go check them out. They have a lot more to offer. Unstable Games is also the creator of Unstable Unicorns, if you've ever played that. I hope you enjoyed this segment and the ride with me, and hopefully you'll join me next time here in the passenger seat. Alright, let's see how this looks. Hopefully nothing falls down. Whew. Alright, and okay. Yo, welcome back everybody here to another segment of the Backseat Driver, here with your host Joseph. My computer just fell. Blooper. Man.